Hello guys, and welcome back to Dark Horse FM, and in today's video I'm going to be using real world principles to show you how to beat the high press in Football Manager 2022. This will help you avoid conceding goals in defense, where your goalkeeper plays the ball to a center half or to a defensive midfielder, and then they end up losing possession and costing your team a goal. So in today's video we're going to look at 4 key points that you can use from real world football principles that you can use to try and get your team to beat the high press in FM 2022. As you can see from this tactics screen, the team in green is set to play with the 4-3-3 and the team in purple is set to play with the 3-5-2. I chose these two different formations because the 3-5-2 has a unique way of pressing the 4-3-3. The 3-5-2 has a way of pressing the 4-3-3 man for man, so the two strikers can take care of the field of the two central defenders. The central midfielder can take care of the DM here, and the two other defensive midfielders can take care of the other central midfielders. The back three from the 3-5-2 will take care of the front three, and then the wing backs will take care of the wing backs from the 4-3-3 will take care of the full backs of the 4. The wing backs from the 3-5-2, will take care of the wing backs on this other side of the tactics. So that's the way it kind of nullifies the 3-5-2, kind of nullifies the 4-3-3. So playing out from the back, important when you're using a 4-3-3, for example, is to have a lot of players to receive the ball when the goalkeeper actually plays it out to the central defenders. So in the sense where you have a striker from the opposing team trying to close the defense down, playing the ball to the central defender, the DM has to actually come a lot closer, and then the wing back as well, even though he was high and wide, will tend to try and be in a position where he can receive the ball from the DM if the ball is played into the defensive midfielder. If the goalkeeper plays the ball to the center half, he can play it to the fullback, forcing the striker to try and close him down. The wing back will also try and offer some support here and close this player down, so the DM has to be available for the fullback to pass the ball to him. And if the fullback can pass the ball to him, that means 2 players have already been drawn out of position. And the DM being drawn out of position here shows that the central midfielder that is supposed to take care of him is going to be forced to follow him, leaving space for these other 2 central midfielders that are supposed to be marked somewhat. And if they drop into the DM position to try and offer some support as well, that is the sense here, is trying to have a lot of players closer and offering support to try and receive the ball. And the more your players shift closer to where the ball carrier is, the more you draw the opposition out alongside them. Now, in order for this to work, you're going to need to have very good technical players and very good ball carriers. So the moment the players actually move the ball around, I helped my DM there. The more the players can move the ball around quickly amongst themselves, the more they can draw the other team out. And then you can see that even the central defenders and then the wing back from the other side will tend to draw themselves closer and create an overload on this other side of the pitch. And at some point you're going to realize that this other side of the pitch is completely blank, and then there's so much space you could just play a long ball all the way from the central midfielder here all the way to the winger on this side, since most of the opposition players have tried their best to try and press the opposition and win the ball. So that's what happens when the AI or the opposing team is trying to instigate a high press. They're going to try and win the ball back in numbers, so you can use that to your advantage by playing the ball out quickly between your players, having a lot of players in defense to try and play the ball out between themselves and then draw the opposition out of their positions because they are trying to press. And with that, you can play a long ball into the winger that is free on the other side and then start or complete a counter attack. The second thing to note when you're trying to play out from the back, if you actually have a team that is not that good technically and they're not very good passers of the ball, this other option is probably not the most welcomed, and it's not something I do very often. But when I'm playing Football Manager and then you realize that your goalkeeper and then your central defenders are not the very good passers of the ball, one of the best things you would like to do to try and beat the high press is the obvious thing possible: play a long ball from the goalkeeper all the way into the opposition's defense. If you notice that the AI, if you're playing against a bigger side, for example, let's say you're meeting a team like Liverpool, you do not want to play out from the back, knowing that they have good players like Firmino. Like in my case, Liverpool had Kylian Mbappe in the side, so playing out from the back hurt us terribly because he could win the ball back in seconds. So the moment you play the ball back to your central defenders, Mbappe was in there like white on rice, and he got the ball back 90% of the time. So what I did to try and stop him from winning the ball back, the second time we actually had the meeting with them, was to just take away the play out from the back instruction altogether and just have the goalkeeper clear the ball long into the opposition's area for them to have an area battle. And good for you, if you have a tall player, you could actually win the area battles. But in my case, I was using Leeds United, and we didn't have that many tall players in the team, even though we were in 2025 or so. So most of my players were somewhat average height, 5'9", 5'11". But a long ball over the top to my striker, to over the opposition's defense somehow helped us stop Kylian Mbappe from winning the ball back in our own defensive area. So that's something you should try and consider, to take away the player from the back instruction completely. That's one other way to try and beat the press. Tip number 3 on how to beat the high press in FM 2022. You want to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to Dark Horse FM channel so you can get notifications when new videos on Football Manager tips come up. I normally post Football Manager tips and tactic training, tactic testing as well on this channel, so you can stay up to date with notifications and then get notifications whenever new videos come up. So for tip number 4, now the last tip I'm going to share with you is the newest to me that I've actually learned in FM 2022, and to me it's also one of the most interesting ways you can actually teach your team to beat the high press, and that's using training, trying to train your team to get better at playing out of defense, because that's the best way you can actually beat the high press. So you can go into your training schedule and then look at one of the training schedules. For example, you can see the default schedules here. You have preseason tactical styles. We're going to focus on tactical styles for like a few seconds, I guess, and there are 2 training schedules in particular that can actually help you beat the high press. The first one is the control possession, where you have no matches or then just the one match on a particular. This is where you can train your team to actually play better with the ball at their feet and try to help them move the ball around amongst themselves. So this is the 2-session tactical training for ball possession, controlling possession. So this sort of works out for your team. And then there's obviously the one for no matches. A second one you can actually use is Tiki Taka. Tiki Taka is quite advanced and very aggressive, so you can help your team get familiar with playing out from defense very quickly. So they also have the same routine, no matches. And if something you notice about this possession based training routines, that they do have player from the back included, and then possession as well. Possession, you can see it in control possession training, but when you're using a Tiki Taka preset, you can obviously, if you have a session here, then there's 2 sessions for transition press and then player from the back, you can obviously include the possession general training here. It doesn't really break your team down that much in a particular season, so you just add this and then it helps you go along with that. Just sort of helps you practice and get your team ready for playing against that high pressing style of play that the opposition obviously try to induce for you. One of the best of the training regimes is the vertical tiki-taka, because this focuses on getting the ball out from your defense into attack using the tiki-taka style of play, but it's a bit more direct than the regular tiki-taka that you're used to. So the idea with using vertical tiki-taka, basically if you use vertical tiki-taka, your team will obviously practice how to play out from the back very quickly. So you can see there's physical and then there's play out from the back as well. It's very similar to the regular tiki-taka, just that it's a bit more dynamic and there's a lot of movement. So this particular regime can actually get your team familiar with playing out from the back a lot quicker, and then reduce all those flimsy mistakes that defenders normally use. But this is what you can actually do for yourself. Include your team in vertical tiki-taka training practice and then tiki-taka and control possession as well. These are good ways to actually get your team better at playing out from the back and beating the high press, because the best way to beat the opposition's high pressing is to know how to play out from the back very well. That's if you do not want to clear the ball out completely. And knowing how to play the ball out of your defense, knowing how to play out from the back, can help you draw the opposition midfielders and attackers out of position and then pass into the spaces that is left behind when they are drawn out of position. So guys, that's a summary of the video. After having good results with Budapest 100, I did get a job with Admira Waka, so as much as I saved the 100 save, and I'm still going to go back and continue it, I'm spending a little bit of time enjoying my new job here in Admira Waka, or with FC Admira Waka Modeling. So that's a summary of how to beat the high press in FM 2022. Obviously there'll be new ways when they come up. I'll probably let you guys know in subsequent videos when I have more understanding of how to beat the high press like we do in real football. So for now, thanks guys for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys in the next video.